So who's figured it out? I'm not quite with daylight savings time yet. My iPhone's telling me it's 4 o'clock. And my clock over there is saying 3. So the life of me. How are you guys? I had some things I wanted to tell you about the trip. Oh. I don't know if I have this set up right or not. Like I said, I thought it was 3 o'clock. I guess in actuality, it's 4 o'clock, except, in my mind, I'm assuming Brian's out there, possibly, maybe. But I wanted to talk about this trip coming up. I haven't mentioned a lot about it. I hope you can hear me. I had a really difficult time getting everything set up today. I've been checking motorcycle advisories, travel, and what the states are mandating. And I'm going to have to put it off. It really sucks. There are a couple of reasons. My doctors are watching me. I need to be able to be near a hospital. I can't wear a face mask. And the advisories and the regulations in each state are so different that they change daily. These people are changing their minds at a moment's notice on what's required and what's not required. And since I can't wear a face mask, what am I going to get somewhere and that I don't know where the heck I am and I'm just stuck? I can't go anywhere. The hospitals won't even let me in without a mask. Kind of sucks, guys. I was really thinking this wasn't going to happen. So the plans, what they are changing to are riding as much as I can through as many states as I can, riding a lot of Oregon, visiting a lot of friends that, I couldn't believe it. There are even places, if you guys can hear me, if you could leave a comment or something, because I'm not sure if, like I said, I can't even see my microphone on here, if it's working or not correctly, if I have the gain up. But I want to ride. I put it off as long as I could until I was told it just doesn't look like it's going to be a possibility. Hey, you! Hey, Karen. Vegas is on my itinerary as well as Idaho. I'm planning on trying to be in Idaho the 23rd. There is a band playing, Lisa Mann. I don't know if you know Lisa Mann. She's playing at the Sapphire Room, I think, in Boise. So I'm planning on going there. Yeah, Karen. Hey, Andy, how are you doing? Yeah, I didn't know. I had so much trouble. If anyone knows how to flip and hook up a GoPro as a webcam, let me know, because I'm not digging it on the Mac. Things just didn't go well. Oh, that would be wonderful. That would be really cool. I have to tell you, the process, guys. I have lived in Portland since, I guess I moved here in 1996, 1997. And he asked me to go through Goose Hollow and go see Suicide Bridge. Okay. We built houses on a street called Goose Hollow when we first moved here, but it's in Clackamas, and I had never heard of Suicide Bridge. So I Googled it. My goodness, I've gone over that thing hundreds of times. That's where most of our clients are up in the Southwest Hills. And that bridge is gorgeous. And I looked at it, it's like 120 feet tall down to pavement. First death there occurred, they think, in 1931. And since until the last 5 years, there have been over 200 deaths from Suicide Bridge. And I would not have known about that had you not said that to me. And I tell you, the entire, I'm going to put this in the video when I put this together, but the entire history of that area is amazing. But you would be blown away to see how devastated Portland is. It is absolutely horrible. It looks like the Holocaust, a nuclear apocalypse happened down there. No surprise, because it's Portland. It's bullshit. It's what it is. Always right here, and I find at times on that too. Andy, you've been around so long, and I really appreciate you. And Karen, Rod, hey, how are you? It's so funny. I know you guys from my YouTube and from my social media, and when I see your names, it's like seeing friends. Well, Karen, my gosh, I've known Karen for ever. And it's amazing. It's like seeing people, and being isolated in this house since I can't wear a mask is driving me out of my flipping mind. So I was really glad when the process told me about that. And, I'm going to tell you, Buck, hi. Hey, Marissa, how are you? Yeah, process. There was a man there when I got to the end. I got out of the car on one side and I walked to the end of the bridge. There's razor wire all along the top, the fences up there. And there was a man sitting there. And he's looking at me, trying to figure out what I'm doing. I'm looking at him, trying to figure out what the heck he's doing. Hey, Sean, music bingo. Dude, Sean Gorman is a genius and one of my best freaking friends. I have so many Canadian friends. I just need to be an expat, I guess. But that guy, first of all, he pissed me off because when I got within 30 feet of him, he put his damn mask on, and it was all grungy and dirty and disgusting, nasty. Then he went on to tell me that before they put the wire up, the guarding on Suicide Bridge, so no one would go off anymore, he saw a jumper, and he sat there and he watched this guy, he said, for an hour before someone else called the police to help this poor person that was going to jump. What kind of person are you to sit there and know someone is contemplating suicide and you just watch them for an hour? And then you go on basically to brag about it to another person? That's Portland for you. Really compassionate. Huh. Great. Ahmed, hi. How are you? Process, yes, the wires, the razor wire was crazy. They've got that black chain link fencing. And I didn't realize they had to go through the National Historical Society or Preservation Society or something to get it approved, because it's a national landmark. And the razor wire, my gosh, it's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Oh, Ahmed, thank you. Hey, Brian. Portland, yeah. Brian, you read, I think, what I wrote on Facebook last night about looking for Joshua. And one of my followers, the process in Idaho, had told me about Suicide Bridge. So I went down there, and then I went through Portland. The Southwest Hills are just beautiful. They're just beautiful. And then you get to downtown, and there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing but tents and trash, broken glass, wood. It's horrible. It's not the Portland that I came to 20-something years ago. Buck, oh gosh, I hope soon. My cousin lives in Little Rock, And at the beginning of the video, I was saying that I'm going to have to put my ride on hold because of COVID. I was looking at the motorcycle. I got to thinking some of these states, I don't really trust them. You know what I mean? They're stopping people at the border to quarantine them. They're stopping people at the borders to ask if they've been vaccinated. I can't be vaccinated. I can't wear a mask. I'm going to be totally screwed. So I've got to kind of hold it out. And I have a condition with my heart that I haven't said a whole lot about, but I'm kind of at high risk, and my doctors are wanting me to stay a little bit more local or near a hospital. But I do have the blood type that seems to be immune to COVID. And so that's really great. So I don't know. I want to get to Little Rock because my cousin's there, and I just lost my uncle to COVID, which is great. Hey, Mike, how are you? Process, I tell you, I really am so thankful that you even told me about that. Like I said, I've gone across that bridge so many times. I never knew it was a bridge. I had no idea it went over Canyon Road. Look right down, and there's the satanic, well, I shouldn't say that, the BMW dealership, and sold me a crappy car. That's just another thing. Mike, tell them you're tall enough that you're above the virus. That's right. I am virus proof. I shouldn't say that because all of the weird things that have happened in the last couple of years have been Karen and Brian, and you guys that have been with me for so long, you know how crazy my life has been. Truth is stranger than fiction, and I am living proof of it. Oh, Ahmed, thank you so much. I appreciate that. It was, hey, Bill, how are you? Rod, you know what? I'm right there with you. I'm trying to figure this out. I was trying to get my GoPro set up to use as a webcam. It worked the other day. Today I couldn't get it to work. I couldn't get anything to work. And then evidently it's not really 3 o'clock right now. It's 15 minutes after 4. And yeah, don't know what planet I'm on. So, Mike, I tell you, I don't know if you heard me or not. When I was in Portland yesterday and I went up, I didn't get close to a guy. I wasn't going to get close to him if there was a virus or no virus. The virus just really is kind of out of my mind. If you want a bit of a secret that I think a lot of you guys kind of think too, I think they're using this to control us. Just saying, in my opinion. But I go up to this guy and he jumps back and he's got this filthy mask on. And I'm thinking, you know what? You're going to be one of the first ones to go down. Just saying. Yeah, Bill. Brian, evidently today I did. The problem is I never reset the clock in my window. And that's what I was going off of. I know. Blame it on the brain injury, I guess, right? About what's that, Ahmed? Brian, that makes me laugh. And congratulations to your friend Alice. That's really cool. And I'm glad that everything worked out for her. The first left after the bridge is your favorite road. You know what? You really opened up, because photography is one of my other passions, and that's one of the e-commerce businesses I'm getting opened up right now, is to be able to sell my photography. Those were my words, Brian. And seeing Portland from that bridge and right around there, I never knew. I had no idea because I'm on the east side. I don't go to the west side often. Where were you, Mike? Out west, like where? in Oregon or just on the West Coast? Brian, you know those were my first words. I just was, where's my bike? I didn't know why. I didn't know what happened. It happened so fast. And everything was like in animated, like being in the Matrix. And I remember bits and flashes, but I vividly remember crying because I could not see my motorcycle and wondering, this is how out of it I was. I'm lying there in the highway and there were police, and I'm thinking no one's stopping the cars. Well, duh, Teri, yeah, they're stopping the cars. But I did wonder about my motorcycle, priorities here. Buck, are you really? Like in Vegas or in the preliminaries? My brother did that. Oh, Sacramento. Oh, I wish I'd known that. I have a great friend down that way. Bill, I did. I cried and I cried and I cried. I do have videos with some pictures of the accident on my channel, and my face was so swollen from crying. It was horrible. Northeast of St. John's Bridge. You know what? I was out there with my son a couple of weeks ago and got some great photographs in August. Are you going to be in Vegas in August? Because I'm really needing Vegas right now. I'm needing Vegas. I've been looking for a home in Summerlin, where my friend Karen is living now. And I'm looking at homes every week, and I can't believe I should have bought 4 or 5 years ago when they were a third of the price they are now. I know. Well, Bill, my Harley was like my kid, even though I had others that, I don't know how to say this, were kind of like parasitic bipeds. Long story. Florida to Sturgis. Oh my gosh. I'm just sick that I'm not going to be able to do this ride. And I wish I kind of had a feeling, and I got the word pretty much for sure last week. So I'm going to ride, like I said, as much as I can. And the process had said something about the St. John's Bridge being haunted, that area there. There is Lone Fir Cemetery. Have you heard of that? I would assume you have, since you know about Goose Hollow. I had not heard of that, and I guess it's supposedly haunted too. I think I'm going to go check that out. Take my daughter with me, and my son won't go. But Rod, I'm going to, I'm going to do what I can. I'm going to try not to let it stop me from at least enjoying. I mean, that's all I can do is get out on my motorcycle. I can't go to the mall. Can't eat Mexican food. Can't. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, Ahmed, I'm going to have to do some other writing. I figured Oregon, they say, I've heard a lot that Oregon is like Iceland, that we really don't need Iceland because of Oregon is so incredibly beautiful. A lot of it, without the other issues that, everyone knows about, but nobody wants to really talk about. Oh, I have to tell you guys this. You guys, Brian, you probably heard about this. It is great social distancing, and I have made some t-shirts I have uploaded to one of my shops that say something about the original social distancing. But what the heck was I going to say? Brian. Oh, did you hear about the Portland mayor, Ted Wheeler, pepper spraying a man that came up to ask him some questions or had some complaints. I guess he was eating outside at a restaurant. This man came up and Wheeler pepper sprayed him. Have any of you guys heard of that? Good for you, process. Yes, Brian, Washington. You know, I had walked that line with the haunted. I like to explore things, and then I think, man, I don't want to pick up anything that's going to follow me home. I've had enough. Exactly. I was going to tell you who the guy was. My daughter's attorney is the one that Wheeler pepper sprayed. And he's not just any attorney. He's a badass attorney. He is like a bulldog attorney. I was like, I called his office. I talked to his secretary and I said, hey, I won't say his name, but tell him, way to go. High five. Job well done. 335 miles. Oh my gosh. Exactly, Bill. Exactly. I tell you, I was a foster mom, and we had kids that would come in that had like writers with them. If you're a believer, if you are in the spiritual realm or anything, and you know what I'm talking about when I talk about writers, there were kids that would come in that had been so severely abused and in such bad situations that there were writers that came along with these kids. And there was it took a while. There was some really funky stuff that went on. Right, Mike? Right? I don't know if he knew that he was an attorney or not when he sprayed him, but I tell you what, he dang sure does now. And I just laugh because Carrie's going to tear him up. What if it's a Casper type? Casper's okay. I was Casper for Halloween one year when I was a kid. Stupid little costumes my mother put on me. My gosh. What's that, Ahmed? The pepper spray? Bill, Buck, have you looked into any of the motorcycle restrictions or guidelines on your route? I wonder if they have any coming out your way, because here it's just hit or miss with the state and the governor you get on. Yeah, I don't know. Our mayor here, in my opinion, is pretty clueless. He's pretty clueless. That killer white wall behind you, right back there, that's my crystal lamp and a furry pillow. That's true, Mike. They can't block every road. And my problem is I have to stay pretty much on a main road in case there's some medical issues, and riding alone, even though I have that really cool, awesome Tina Adams corset, concealed corset that can carry, can't say, what I can carry in it, but I would be able to protect myself. But with some of the medical conditions happening, I'm just not real sure. Oh, good, Buck. I'm glad you have. I was looking, like, going through California and some of the other ones, and everything is just it's so fluid. There's nothing concrete, and it's frustrating. The whole thing frustrates me. Like running around the scales, I'm sure you can make Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Um, it's just I could do that, and I've thought about that. And generally when we do ride a lot of back roads because of this thing with my heart, that scares me a little bit in case something does happen. I need to be able to be found. I do have a life flight subscription. You guys need to get one because Life Flight doesn't contract with insurance. We found that out the hard way. Yeah, Brian, I do. I have friends. I have friends that I was going to be staying with. I had friends that were going to make certain legs of the ride with me. It's just there's so many different aspects that are going into this decision that I think I'm going to be better off waiting until next year and just riding around through the Northwest and into Idaho and Nevada. Okay, process, do it. And I will work this week on the footage I got for you on Suicide Bridge and Goose Hollow. And thanks again for the tip. Where are you going, Bill? Oh, for sure, Rod, for sure. It's I don't know anything about the governor in Colorado, but I was reading some pretty sketchy stuff. And, I've been trying to stay away from the news. I was on news overload and it wasn't doing me any good. Brian, I have ridden without a helmet. And every time I have stopped and I couldn't do it. Growing up in a motorcycle family and seeing a lot of the things that I saw, um, for me, I couldn't do it. Did you really 5 acres? About in what area? Because I was thinking Nevada or Arizona. Central Michigan to Mississippi, then to Florida. Oh my gosh. That's going to be a beautiful ride. You're going to build there, Rod? Is the property developed? 5 acres is great. Once the flights open up. Oh, Ahmed, that would be so great. Oh, Tucson. Tucson is awesome. YouTube process if you're still here. Tucson is one of my favorite cities. It's not developed then. That's the reason I asked. That's what we do. We build homes. And excuse me, we were looking for property in Vegas when the market fell, and there really wasn't anything to get that was developed. And for some reason, developing the property there at that time was extremely difficult, and we just put it off. I wish we had done that because we would have made 3 times the money already. Is Colorado? Wow. "15 in northern Michigan working on making camp areas for." Oh my, that's great. That's a really cool idea. There's a thing that I found called Bunk a Biker. It's sort of like Airbnb, but for bikers. And I guess it's free. You just take something to your hosts, and it's worldwide. It was actually started in Europe, but I think it sounds like kind of a fun idea. Oh, I see. I see, Rod. Yep. I can understand that. We used to go to a place out of, yeah, kind of like hostels, although oh, like you're talking about building or the Bunka Biker. The Bunka Biker is like I could join and have someone, I have 6 bedrooms here. And so somebody could come and just stay in one of the guest rooms if they were going to be in the area for 3 or 4 nights. And, you know, just a place for bikers to stay. I wonder, I guess they would have to vet the homes. Yeah, Bunka Biker. Yeah. It's just like Airbnb. Some people have camping spots. Some people, like in my home, would just say, "Hey, I've got a spare bedroom. You ride a motorcycle? Come on, brothers, hang out." Florida, Atlanta. Buck, I'm reading that, and I don't know if it's my dyslexia or what, but I read Florida to Australia, and I'm thinking, yeah, it's kind of a long ride. Such an idiot. Oh, Mike, that's a really cool idea. That's actually a great idea. Rod, are you guys really locked down in Colorado, or are you speaking of the political climate, or in what way do you mean? I'm assuming that you mean politically. Eureka Springs to Amarillo. Wow, I'm from that area. That's where I was born, in West Texas. It sounds like it's gonna be an amazing retirement, Mike. That sounds like, we have built things for people like duplexes and fourplexes, and that was their retirement. That's exactly what they built them for. The politics. Yep. I have a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, that moved to Denver about a year ago. And if that's what's going on, she's hating it. She's hating it. Primitive camping tent and a hammock. I hear you. I would love it if I could get off the ground. I was in here in my studio, and I got down to do something and sprained my foot getting up because of the way my back has been fused. Yeah, I don't know if I'd be able to get off the ground, which is kind of embarrassing. Oh, you did grow up there, Rod? Trinidad is where we used to go through. Trinidad and Gunnison, and there was a resort called, I think it was called Whitewater Resort, that we used to go to and stay along the river. Yeah, I don't think that resort is there anymore, but I would go with my parents, and it was so beautiful, so beautiful. It wouldn't taste good to a bear. Brian, they have some really cool ones I've seen. Oh, are you in Castle Rock? That's right. We've talked about that. I was going to be coming through Castle Rock. But Brian, I saw these air mattresses that roll up really, really small, and you just sort of like wave them around or whatever, and they fill up, and you twist the ends. Glenwood Springs is an awesome spot. I've not heard of it. I don't know a lot about Colorado except going through Trinidad and into Gunnison and then to Whitewater. It was just so beautiful. So beautiful. You know, I think I'm just going to have to conquer my fears and do some of that camping. Just make sure I have something to be able to get my butt up off the ground with. But, you know, growing up in Texas, I think you grow up with this just innate fear of things on the ground because it's kind of like Australia, but like not on steroids. Australia is Texas on steroids. Everything there is poisonous. You know, ants, scorpions, spiders, snakes, every freaking thing there. You know, I saw her thumbnail, Brian, but I haven't watched her videos. Bill the Badger's channel on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram has information at the world. Oh, okay. Actually, let me get a pen and write that down. Yeah, my brother did that, and my mother was doing that before she was killed. Bill the Badger. I love poker. I absolutely love it. Texas Hold'em. The world record poker run. That sounds interesting. Yeah, I need to check that video out, Brian. I saw the thumbnails, and you know, the last couple of weeks have been so. I think you read my message on Facebook last night as to what's been going on around here, and I haven't really been able to watch anything or do much of anything. It's been really chaotic. Scott Karas, he lives on High Bike and posts the videos. Okay. I love it when you guys give me tips, because when I'm making content and I'm trying to open up these other businesses, you know, I'm at a place where I have realized that I have to be prepared to take care of myself financially. And I didn't ever think that I was going to be in that position, but it's a reality. So I have been just working my butt off trying to get these businesses off the ground and get everything going. So I haven't been able to watch much of anything. Oh yeah, Blockhead is good. Oh, okay. That's good to know, Rod. Scooter Tramp Scotty. I've heard of that. Taking notes. It's amazing how many people are living the van life and the motorcycle, you know, just I think the culture today has made people, you know, my age and younger, the people that Harley is no longer aiming for, decide, you know, just F it, let's just get out of here. Let's travel. Let's see what the heck's going on. Rod, that's so true. That's so true. Remember, some states have. How do you mean, Mike? And Rod, you're right. You know, I thought I had learned that when my grandson died in 2004. Everything in my life suddenly just changed. And things that used to be a big deal were no longer a big deal anymore. Because we literally watched our grandson die for 12 weeks. And when you go through something like that, everything just changes. And then all sorts of things. Oh yes, the flies. Yes. Okay. Shade tree last year at the dirt. Okay. Went to bike week. In Florida, Bill, is what I'm assuming. I want to go there so bad. Rod, we've always had a small corporation, always been self-employed. My dad was a corporate pilot. And so there was a lot of the politics that went on in that world of oil men, rock stars, movie stars, bankers, all of that stuff. It's really it's too much, and I can't believe my dad did that. And I'm sorry, I'm moving around this chair so much it is uncomfortable. Mama Badger is a big okay. A new rally starting? Really? I don't know if you've heard of Street Vibrations. That used to be one of my very favorite rallies to go to until it was in Reno. Went every year, except the year my dad died. We went every year, and then they split it up into not just Reno, but they put it out into Carson City and Sparks, and they sort of spread everything out, and it ruined everything. It wasn't the same. It wasn't the same. No corporate vibes. That's what I would like. We need to start our own rally. How do you do that? I used to do some work for Hell's Canyon biker rally. Okay, thanks, Mike. Bill, I wonder why I thought that you were in Florida. It might not let you post the link, Mike, but it'll go into my held comments. But there was a guy, he lives around Brian, I'm sure you know of Hell's Canyon. We had some not so great things happen there, but the guy that started that, he and his brother, I worked for them. I was the ambassador for them out there at Hell's Canyon. And then they sort of split ways, and one of the brothers started Pendleton Bike Week. And there wasn't a corporate vibe at Hell's Canyon while Steve ran it. It just was a great bike rally. It was just a bike rally. It wasn't all of this, like you're talking about the corporate run thing for just making money. Hey, Sean. All right, come on. You have to be my backer, dude. I have nothing. And when are you coming back into the States? And Sean, are you still setting up that thing in Vegas? If you are, I have a lot of people in here that are Vegas. We'll all meet up there and we'll have a really good time, and you can show them how to party like a Canadian. Yes, Brian, they are beautiful. They're beautiful. As soon as I get fast. Oh, Sean, I was going through pictures. the other night on my hard drives, and I found our visits up to see you in Victoria. Good times. I wish I had her pictures from Hawaii. Canadian round bacon and maple syrup. Yum. Sean, did you leave the airlines? Are you just working for yourself now? You guys, if you knew Sean, I met Sean, and you people that have met me in person, you know that I just talk to people. I don't have any problem with it. I was in Hawaii one time, and we walked into the hotel we were staying had a bar out to the beach. And there was no place to sit, absolutely no place to sit. And we're looking around, and here's this guy that jumps up. They're at this big round table, and there were 2 seats at the table. He said, "Hey, you guys can sit with us. Come sit over here." Didn't know him from Adam. Sean has become one of my very best friends in the world. Sean, you're kidding me. Brian, I would love to do that. Is that different from the Baja run? What about Americans being murdered there and stuff like that? Sean, I miss you. I was, you guys, you know, people give me flack a lot of times because I like to connect with my social media followers. And a lot of my friends I've met when I've been on vacation someplace, or I've got great friends that I've known from social media from 20 years ago when I started blog posts and things. And they are some of the most wonderful people ever. And Sean is just one of those people, like, Brian and then Karen up here, and people that I have known for so many years that have just really made my life complete. And people don't get it. They're like, "Why are you talking to all these people? Why?" Because people are awesome. I'm not going to keep myself in a stupid bubble. The government may be forcing me to right now, but you guys have really made my life. Sean, I tell you, that vacation was so much fun. And I was singing the other night about being at that little bar in Victoria that night with your firefighter friends. Brian, is that in Baja? Yeah, Mike, you're right. You've got that right. I think Brian told me about that buck, the orange one. TJ and Steph are on the channel, and okay, I've got. Well, why am I writing this down? It's going to be in my comments. I'll do that. I really wanted to go through Arkansas just because. Well, I wanted to see my cousin, but my parents used to go mining for diamonds there. They thought it was fun. Tack is, he is so cool. Tack is so cool. You've got the stories, dude. We need to write a book. Oh, on the east coast of Baja or the east coast of Mexico, Brian? I guess it would have to be Baja. Sean, is he still with the fire department? Tell him hello for us or for me. Yeah, Buck, I really need to find more channels where I can get the information I need. It's things get so chaotic here that it's for my brain. It's so scrambled most of the time. I don't know which way is what. East Coast of Baja. Okay. Oh, 1 year left. Make sure you tell him hi. And we still remember that night driving with firemen. That was scary. Very scary. The East Coast of Baja's. So I'm trying to picture it. It's been so long since I've been there. The Bike Blues and Barbecue is an awesome event. There's nothing better than bikes, blues, and barbecue. Nothing better. He scares you too? Well, you have another friend that's a little more scary in other ways, but Tack's cool. He's a cool dude. Hey, Kevin, how are you? Oh, thank you, Kevin. Thank you. That's so nice to hear. I mean, thank you. I appreciate it. South of Mexicali. Okay. Beale Street in Memphis on Wednesday nights. Oh my gosh. That would be a blast. So Mike, how many states, I mean, is your big vision for to put these tiny houses? Do you have like an end goal, or just start and see where it goes? Kevin, I was saying earlier that I love it when I see names come up. It's like you guys aren't just like names on a channel. It's like my real friends are showing up, and I really appreciate it. It's really cool. I can't believe Sean. I'm in complete shock that Sean showed up. I woke up this morning and I heard the Blues channel was on in the living room, and Last $2, who was it, was singing that song, and it just put me in the best mood for the day. Michigan and see where it goes. You know, Mike, that I think that's what it's about. At least for me in my life, what I do, I love to meet people. I love to meet people. And I love to hear the stories, because you know that's what makes everything real. It brings us down to the same level. Bike friendly, no cars. Okay. But can we have roads with no gravel? Sean got me lost in Canada on a gravel road on my bike, and I was scared to death. Do you remember that, Sean? Kevin, how have you been? Oh, good. Okay. I'm in, Mike. You know, Bill, I think we all are. You know, I started my YouTube channel back just for family stuff. I haven't taken that off. So if you look at like my earlier videos, like just one of them, it's when I was getting my back tattooed. It's just like a snippet. There's lots of my grandkids and my kids, but I started YouTube just to sort of as a holding place for things for my kids and my grandkids, when they were saying YouTube was going to be the next TV. And I was like, yeah, right, whatever, that's stupid. And now, you know, look what's going on now. I'm getting a check every month. That's great. Ozark HG Riders. I am appreciating this information you guys are giving me. So, Mike, are you buying? I guess you would have to. You're buying the property, like different areas to put these on? Or is it going to be something like Adam Sandoval's place in Oklahoma? Or do you have a different vision? Sean, do you remember? I had never ridden on gravel before, and you're just riding like you know where you're going. I had no idea that you were lost in your own backyard. But do you remember that campsite we came up on, and the people came out and they were saying, "Hey, you guys stay here. There's no rules." And we're like, yeah, we're out of here. It was kind of like the Deliverance movie is kind of what it reminded me of. Mini the Mucha? I haven't heard of that. You'll have to send me the link to that, Ahmed. Mike, that's exactly what I'm thinking. There's a situation in my family where we have had to make some very strict boundaries, and unfortunately, it's affected some of the younger generations that are going to hear things that aren't true. And so our kids and grandkids will be able to hear the stories that I missed out on as a kid. My mother, I knew no stories from her. I knew very few from my dad. But that's one thought that had gone through my mind. Like Adams, he bought 15 acres, clearing it now and building trails. Dude, you're busy. You are busy. Sean, I still can't believe that ride. That was so funny. I follow him, Rod. He is great. His videos are so cool. They're just so cool. And the roosters he has that chime in on his videos, I just find those absolutely hysterical. Oh, Kevin, I'm sorry. I'm glad you're back to work. You know that. Oh, by Cab Calloway. Okay. I know that COVID is very real. But I also see it being used kind of as a tool, and that really pisses me off. But for the people that end up with it, it's miserable. And like I said, I lost my uncle maybe 3 weeks ago to COVID. Yeah, Shovelhead Fetch is great. Minnie is in Blues Brothers. Okay. For Road King Kong, that reminds me, I bought raffle tickets for something. I guess I should find out what they are. I have never seen the Blues Brothers. Never. Mike says Shade Tree and others to ride up for a charity type weekend. That would be awesome. That would be so awesome. I really don't like living here on the West Coast. I wish I was more where normal people were. Really, Brian? 2,000 people? That makes me nervous. Are you still going to have it in May if everything holds up okay? Rod, I would love that. That's one of the greatest things I think about social media is when you know people from online and you develop this real connection with them, and then you come together and get to meet everyone face to face. It's like meeting long lost family. And everyone has, I think because of the different niches in social media, everyone has the same interests, and it's just so cool. Why, Sean? What's going on in Victoria? May 16th at 11 a.m. Is 11 a.m. your time or my time, Brian? Kevin, I don't think so. The foster kids that I did foster care for a long time. And the foster kids, when they turned 18, they were on their own. They were pretty much as compassionate as Oregon is. Sarcastically, I say. They pretty much turn them out on the streets. You know, Kevin, we had a boy that came in to here. He was 6 years old, had been severely abused. He heard voices. He had some things going on with him. The second day he was here, he tried to kill one of my sons, and they told me I wasn't supervising him correctly. Excuse me, bullshit. So they had a woman come out here and they told me to put him in a hula hoop and he could not go out of that space. I thought that was pretty cruel. Well, a couple of weeks later, he tried to kill one of my boys again, a different one of my sons, and another son went in and saw, and the one that he had on the ground, his face was blue. And I called the caseworker and I said, look, you need to get this kid out of here. He's tried to kill my son. And they said, oh, what am I supposed to do? Say that you called and blah, blah, blah. Well, within Oregon law, you're supposed to, if that happens, you're supposed to have the kids removed from the home within that business day. And this woman wasn't going to do it. They didn't like what they got from me. Because if it had been reversed and one of my kids had tried to do that, they would have taken all of my kids, no matter what. The foster system here is horrible. Ahmed, there are good people in the West Coast. It's just the governments that kind of suck. And they brought a lot of people in to Portland anyway that are not from here. And they've done a lot of damage to our city. Okay, Mike, thank you. It was so nice talking to you. And I will look into Forgotten Angels, because that, you know, the story with my son and our foster care and everything, and that's something that's real close to my heart. I set my clock after it failed to wake me up in time for a meeting. You know, I have not had an alarm clock in decades, and it has been amazing. It's 5 there. So Sean, you're on the same time that we're on. Yeah, 5:04. You're on the same time as we are. You're right, Sean. But you know, the problem with that is parents are letting their kids control them, and the kids are being controlled by other agendas, and they're being set up. And dang, we need to be back in that backyard with your friends around the fire and have this conversation, because it's just to look around the world and what's going on with our kids and what they're coming into. It's really kind of scary. Bill, it is. It really is. I like that. I have never been a morning person. Kevin, yeah. Very much so. Very, very much so. Being a foster parent and adopting so many kids destroyed my life because of the lack of support from the state, and a lot of other reasons, but it destroyed my life and it destroyed the lives of my kids. And I hate to say it, but if I had to do it again, I wouldn't do it. Just because there's no support here for foster kids or the foster parent or anything. They just are. I mean, it's like our mentally ill downtown. One of my son, like my son, they're going to start taxing us now, business owners, for the homeless. But you know damn well, being in Oregon, that money is not going to go to the homeless. What are they going to do? All they do is bring in. They do street sweeps and move them from place to place. There's no help. Sean, is your daughter still performing? I think it's pretty much karma that you have a daughter that is just like you. That's right, Sean. That's right. Wow, Rod, I am so sorry. It's horrible. Bikes, beers, and barbecue in Eureka Springs. I'm gonna have to check that out. I would love to have my cousin start riding and ride with him. That would be fun. Oh, Bill, I'm sorry. I hope it was a good situation for you. It's tough. Sean, you should be. Sean, you forget you've told me stories. So if your daughter is like you are in for it, and there's not going to be a thing you can do about it, except you're going to know all the tricks before they happen. So you do have the upper hand for now. Brian, you are so right. And that would be something that I would jump on in a heartbeat. But my jumping in to help has killed me, especially with the last situation I was in last year. And when I jump into something like that, I go full force. But you're right. I mean, that I wouldn't mind being in a committee to do something like that, because more and more they're so ready to come and take kids out of homes with absolutely no plan and no. When I was in the foster classes, they make you go through these classes before you become a foster parent. There were people in there that absolutely had no shame in saying they were in it for the money. They were in it to see how many kids they could foster for the money that they were going to get. I'll leave that at that, because I'll go off on a streak. They'll get me banned from YouTube. Oh, Bill, that's so great. That's so great. My dad was an alcoholic, but he was a functioning alcoholic. It was tough. It was tough. Getting up, and he was a corporate pilot. so he had a lot of free time when they would go wherever, they went. And when he was home, would wake up in the morning and pour a straight glass of vodka in front of the kids, it was like, man, I don't think my phone did. I wonder if it's my microphone. Let me know, Buck. Let me adjust the gain. Is that any better? Sean, I will. I think you sent me a message on Facebook that I didn't get. And I'm here too, Sean. You've got my number. Buck, can you hear anything? Okay, Brian. Thank you. I've got so many cords in the back of this. Bill, I'm really glad to hear that. My dad, being a functioning alcoholic, oh, good. Thank you, Kevin. When my mother was killed, my dad really, really, really started drinking a lot. And one of my sisters-in-law was on his ass all the time trying to get him to quit drinking. My gosh, the guy was 69 years old. He wasn't going to live much longer anyway, because he told us he wasn't going to live. And she made his life miserable for 13 months, telling him to sober up. He had retired. His best friend was killed. Let him drink. I mean, he'd done it his entire life. Cheers, Sean. Hey, Karen. I see you again. Karen, I'm so happy that you're in Vegas. Are you still loving it there? I've been talking to Christy every other week for a couple of hours on Facebook Messenger. It's been awesome. So what's the weather like where all you guys are? It's really crappy here today. It sounds like the Wizard of Oz out in my front yard. Oh, it's absolutely pouring. I am so glad I wasn't out on my motorcycle. I had no idea. Sean, do you have any idea what it's like trying to get up there through customs? Oh, Bill, are you snowed in today? Ooh, I'm sorry. I hate the snow. 61. Thanks, Rod. 40 degrees Fahrenheit, raining, Brian. Yeah, it's bad here. Yesterday was so beautiful. Rod, 61 is absolutely the perfect riding temperature. Snow melted. I hate snow. I hate snow. Being in Portland, thankfully, we don't get a lot of snow, but when we get it, we really get it. And we had a horrible snowstorm this year. So much devastation. Amit, is it? Well, I would assume that it would be the hot there. That was kind of a dumb blonde statement to make. Whoa. So do you get a lot of snow in Castle Rock? I would think that you would. I would think that'd be sort of a normal. Is the border still closed? Okay. Is that, well, I guess it would be Celsius, Fahrenheit, Andy, because 38 Celsius, you'd be dead. Andy, are you Canadian? Or are you from the United States originally? Yeah. You know, it's funny. The weather here actually is much more tolerable than it is in Texas. It gets so cold in Texas. 31 degrees Celsius. Well, okay, so when I was in Victoria one time in Canada, they were complaining because it was 22 degrees Celsius and how hot it was. So that's got to be really hot. What part of Saudi Arabia are you in? I was looking at a hotel in Dubai that I thought would be really cool to be there. 33 degrees there. Wow. Wow. I just don't like the cold. Rod, have you seen those videos of him getting on the airplane and off the plane? There's one where he got hit in the head with a golf ball. I thought it was pretty funny. Yeah, what is with that? Opening up the borders, but totally putting a fortress around the Capitol, the White House. Has he even moved into the White House yet? I don't think so. The West Coast, okay. I've been in Ukraine. Andy, is that Celsius or Fahrenheit? I would imagine Fahrenheit. I'm asking all these stupid questions. Americans don't know anything about Celsius. Canada is afraid of us. Is Trudeau still the prime minister there? That's how far out of touch I am. Did you happen to see his press conference? I didn't even watch it. I know people are going into Mexico, but I didn't know how Canada was. You know, I almost feel bad for him. I would feel bad for anyone who is very seemingly affected with dementia to be puppeted around. Oh, I bet it was. Yep, and look at the one that's going to be in there next. 74 degrees. He is just so ick to me. Trudeau. He's just so. Wasn't he? Has he been involved or associated with this Pizzagate thing? For some reason, I remember his name being associated with that. Yeah, that's pretty much right, Rod. Brian, was that the press conference or getting on and off the plane? It's very scary, and with him being president, it's very scary because look who's really running things. We have someone in there. I mean, my God, remember when Reagan was president and he started showing signs of Alzheimer's? At least we had people that were semi-competent around. These people have other agendas. They're not for Americans. I have so many friends that have come here to get away from socialism that are freaking out because of what they see. Every single one of them has said, this is what we ran from. This is what happened before our government collapsed. That's scary. I wanted to, yeah, it is. It is, Rod. Brian, I just couldn't bring myself to watch it. It's too depressing. Little Caesars. Yep. I hope this will be okay on YouTube. The whole political thing, nobody has the First Amendment has basically disappeared. But I thought the funniest thing was, in a really sick way, Trump was on the golf course teeing off, hit the ball, and then they cut to Biden going to the airplane, and he gets hit in the head with the golf ball. I lost it. That was just absolutely hysterical to me. I wouldn't want that to really happen to him. I just thought it was really funny the way they put it together. It's not, Brian. It's not for us in any way. JFK would be mortified by what's going on today. He would be absolutely mortified. It's scary. It's really scary. It's so scary that I've been looking at houses in Vegas or places in Vegas, but I'm also looking out of the country for my complete retreat from America, because it's so scary. I've narrowed it down to a couple of places that I'm seriously looking at. But this COVID thing, the restrictions have to open up before I can fly and check these other places out. I think my future lies in being an expat. JFK would be the founding member of the vast right-wing conspiracy. No, Kevin, I didn't. I found one. I had it built online. Exactly what I wanted. And the price actually was a pretty good price. And I ran everything by my mechanic, who is, if you guys know who the hamsters are, he's a hamster. And he just got into the Sturgis Hall of Fame and the Motorcycle Hall of Fame and all of this stuff. Well, he's my mechanic. And he told me that Indian was the way to go. It was the way to go. He said he has seen nothing. If there were no new Harleys for him to work on, he would be out of business. That's all that is coming through his shop, are new Harleys. But something happened, and I got off that. Now, you'd have to ask me, and I'd forget. Something happened and got me sidetracked from that. I do have it in my mind for the future. I do still intend going that way. I think it's the Springfield. I think it's the Springfield is the one that I wanted. Stay with Harley. I tell you, Rod, I am not getting rid of my heritage. My mechanic told me, he said, when I first met him, he said, oh my gosh, you have an 06. That is the holy grail year for Harley Davidson. So yeah, I'm keeping it forever. The Irish Republic, no, Brian, I haven't. I think it gets cold there. I don't want cold. I'm thinking Portugal or Indonesia. Rod, I really love Harley. I love the Harley that was, You know, when Willie G took it back from AMF, and it was still a family pride that kept it going. And I don't trust this, whatever his name, Zeitz. He says he's been on a motorcycle. I don't know if any of you guys watched his virtual rollout of the 2021 Harley Davidsons. And he starts it out. Evidently he's heard all of this stuff about, everyone thinks this guy has never been on a motorcycle in his life. I don't think he has. So he talks about his love for riding and the open road. Really? Really? And our government is there to protect us. I believe that too. So, no. So that's real discouraging. It's kind of like an American icon. And we were talking earlier about it's all become so corporate. And Indian doesn't seem to have done that so far. And I mean, they're right there to take over the huge market that Harley is vacating. I have been to Indonesia, Ahmed, and I tell you, I love it. I love it. I had a really bad experience in one country, but I really loved it. My dad used to work on his own bikes and airplanes and boats and cars and everything else. And, you know, Bill, they've gotten them with all this computer stuff in it. I wouldn't have a clue what to do. Oh, are they, Rod? Ahmed, is the Pan Am already there? I haven't seen one over here. I wonder what it would be like. Brian, seriously, Australia? That's the most dangerous continent on Earth. There are kangaroos there, and they get mad. They would kill me. They would totally kill me. 2020 Softail standard. You know, like I said, mine's an 06. I bought it right off the showroom. 6 months later, it was totaled, and I had it rebuilt. And Harley was so great then. They took the frame, they cut the VIN number out, they welded it into a new frame. And so I don't have a branded title. And they were amazing then. Try to do that now. My daughter had something done to her bike. I think she has a 2020 iron. She had something done that had absolutely nothing to do with the warranty, but it voided the Harley warranty. Yeah. I don't like jellyfish either. They have those Portuguese man of war around Texas. No, those things hurt. When first, Rod? Was this back when, or was this recently? I really, really would love an Indian. I love them. My mechanic was telling me, you know, when Polaris acquired Indian, they stopped making the Victory. Mainly because no one's going to get Victory tattooed on them, but they will an Indian. So I guess there's corporate everywhere. Kevin Kevin, it freaking scares me to death. Oh, I'm not going any places where the snakes and the spiders are, but those freaking kangaroos are everywhere. And they are vicious. Oh my gosh. And there are pygmies there too. Oh God, I think Australia would be a beautiful place to fly over. But it really does scare me a lot. A 90s vintage HD. Brian, do you know how old that makes me feel when a 90s vintage HD? I graduated high school in 1980. I heard koalas are really vicious little things. It's because they're high on eucalyptus. Do you know people with victory tattoos? Do you know Keith, my friend Keith Matthias? Keith is a guy that I met through motorcycles who's like a lot of you people. I mean, I know that I could call him if I needed anything and he would be there. I just found that out about koalas, Brian. Australia is just freaking scary. It's scary, but I love Australians. I love them. And you have to wonder, is it because it was a prison for all those years? Or I don't know. I love Australians. They're just so cool. I guess you have to be tough to live around kangaroos. He's Hawaiian. And he rode a Victory. He's got a Harley now. He was going to do that show with me. And when I was hurt out in Hell's Canyon, he actually was going to ride my motorcycle. He was going to ride my motorcycle 5 hours home for me. And I didn't know it. He's a great guy. Karen, right? Come on, Karen. Would you want to go and chance everything on Australia is poisonous? And not happening. Not happening. Ahmed, you've been everywhere. What do you do for a living, if you don't mind me asking, Ahmed? Karen, Christy and I were talking about you Friday. All good. About our little tribe. A hydroplane racer. Oh my gosh. Samoa. Aircraft mechanic. Oh, wow. My brother is an aircraft mechanic, or he was the last time I spoke with him. I haven't spoken with him in years. Fly over Australia to get to New Zealand. Hobbits. New Zealand sounds like it would be really cool. I think I wouldn't mind going to New Zealand. Nothing wrong with tribes. No. I am officially a member of a tribe. Oh, Saudi Airlines is supposed to be one of the most safe airlines in the world. Hells no, Karen. Karen, I tell you, you and Christy and I don't know what it was, but that bond is so strong. I mean, you guys we've been together through some really hard stuff. I tell you, Kevin, you're talking about flying over Australia. When I flew from Portland to Tokyo, I thought I was going to die. Absolutely die. And then I got stuck in Korea for like 24 hours, and the airport was shut down. It was miserable. But Korean Airlines, I tell you what, I haven't seen the advertisements for them lately, but the advertisements they used to have of how luxurious they are, and I have never flown an airline like Korean Air. It was amazing. So, Ahmed, would it be kind of like Portland when you say like funky? Yeah, I've heard great things about that airline. Brian, I'm still thinking about those koala bears. If I have nightmares about koala bears, I'm calling you, holding you responsible. Oh, Brian, let me ask you about the Mount St. Helens Memorial Ride. So 2,000 people going up there, that scares me a little bit. I don't know if you remember Mike Jansen or not. He was our lumber salesman for years, and he's ridden that with me a couple of times. Was talking about something on the streets up there. Do you know anything about that? I mean, I get freaked out with that many people. For sure. For sure. Kevin, you only flew once, like in your entire life? Karen, you have the best sense of humor, I think, of anybody I know. I am glad that you are where you are. I bet you feel a lot better. I didn't know about the walker, though. About 200 to 400. You know what I remember about that first year I rode was, and I can't remember who it was. It might have been you. My chaps broke, and somebody gave me some sort of something to help fix my chaps. I wish I could remember exactly what it was or who it was. It's a beautiful ride. Can we get up to Mount St. Helens now, or is it still closed off? Hold my beer. That's funny. Kevin, you said you flew. Oh, I only ever flew once. Wow, that's so weird for me. Because my dad was a pilot, and I lived in West Texas, and that was my first form of transportation, was in the back of my dad's airplane to go see my grandmother's. That's how we went. And then when I got older and my dad started getting much more brave in his airplanes, I wouldn't fly with him anymore. I wouldn't fly in his little planes. He would roll those suckers. I was up in the Learjet with him one time. He rolled that. It's like, no, Dad, sorry, I am not flying with you again, ever. It's open, and the gate will be open the week before we make the ride. Oh, good. Oh, good. Because I think it was the last time I went, we couldn't get up to the mountain. Had to be from Canada. You guys are so cool. I really appreciate every one of you more than I could ever express. Thank you so much. The question, Brian, is, are we going to be able to see the mountain? Karen, you need to get those toe shoes back on. I can't believe you're in Summerlin. I cannot believe when you told me you were in Summerlin, I couldn't believe it. That would be so amazing. Brian, it's snowing where you are. Don't even go there. Karen, how is the traffic there as in tourism? I generally try to go in April. Thank you, Ahmed. You know, that's the thing with Mount St. Helens. You never know. I took the kids up there one year, all 9 of them. We went up and we saw the video and all the thing about the mountain. And then they have the real dramatic pulling back of the curtains that look right out onto Mount St. Helens. Nothing. Just clouds. It was just clouds. Yep. Yeah, Brian, keep the snow where you are. We do not want it. Yeah, Karen message me later and let me know what the tourist traffic is like there, because I'm needing to check into the Wynn. That's my home away from home, and do a little property searching. Rod, I'm with you 100%. 100%. Oh my gosh, are you having fires, Andy? I have a lot of friends in Alberta. I don't either, Brian. Kevin, I am too. That was the year I graduated high school that it erupted. Okay, all right. So we're talking about Mount St. Helens, so I've got to tell you a story. Remodeled a house for a hoarder. Hoarder. We ended up finding like 6 pianos. Didn't even know she had carpet. Didn't even know she had furniture. It was a major hoarder of a person. And Jeff made us clean the house before. It was just nasty. So her husband had died 20 years before, and the house was halfway remodeled. Half of it was open studs and everything. And we knew that he had been cremated. And so we were cleaning one of the bathrooms, or the bathroom, and opened up a little closet there. And there was a jar of ashes, and everyone just froze and thought those ashes were Chuck. It's like, is this Chuck? So, and this sounds really ugly, but it was really a gift from God. She broke her hip the day we started the accident and was in a nursing home and was released the week we finished the home. And I went to see her after we found those ashes, and I said, so Mary, where's Chuck? And she said, what do you mean, honey? You know he's dead. I said, well, I found a jar of ashes in the bathroom. She said, oh no, that's from Mount St. Helens. I put Chuck in sandwich bags. Yeah. Hey, Tech and Moto, how are you? You know, Andy, I never would have thought about that that you would have a fire season where you live. You're skiing, Sean? You're such a dog. Oh, good. I'm happy to hear that. Wow. Brian, that's scary. That's so scary. Is it still I know it's active, but is there still stuff going on there? You guys are so cool. All the winds down there are always blowing. I don't, when I went to Calgary, to Calgary, I was surprised at how big of a city it was. Or to me, it seemed like it. Sean, get out of the snow. You belong on a beach. Well, I am going to have to run, guys. I hear the kids are here. They still haven't. Really? Yeah, there are earthquakes there all the time. Yeah, Rod, I'm getting ready to bail as well. I've got dinner on and 2 of the kids are here. Death Star tomorrow. Ugh. Hockey players can ski. I've seen you pull a couple of hockey moves, Sean. Isabella probably skis better than you. Is she with you? Okay, Moto, you too. Have a great evening. I don't remember that, Andy. You too, Bill. Have a good night. Actually, every one of you guys, thank you so very much for helping me spend a little of my evening and get to talk to you guys, have some human interaction. I mean, really, it's like talking to friends, dear friends, not just a name on a screen. And I appreciate that. And thanks for understanding about the ride and everything. But we'll be riding around Oregon and as much as we can. And hopefully I will be seeing Karen in the next month. Thanks, Ahmed. You too. I can't wait to meet you sometime. All of you guys. I think it would be amazing. And you too, Karen. And stay upright, okay? All right, everyone. I'm going to say bye. You guys have a fantastic, fantastic evening. And I'm going to get to editing this footage of Suicide Bridge and Goose Hollow and all of that. And hopefully we'll see you guys very, very soon. Have a great night. Bye, guys.